Good evening, everybody. How are you doing this evening? It's your boy Grayson. That's right, your neighborhood says that self awareness implementation specialist coming to you all today with a brand new version called From the Desk of the Says, which is a element of Ankh unifying the nomadic community. Today, I have with me as a guest none other than my mentor, my friend, Mr. Clarence. I'm going to let him bring his on, tell you a little bit about himself in his own way.
Hey family, how you doing? My name is Clarence. As my brother introduced me. You know, I come from a long line of mess ups, and the conversation of today is truly a blessing because of the fact that I know a little something about this piece that he's bringing to the table. I believe I'm a recovery coach, um, a helper, and a hope provider. I just like to help where I can, help redirect thinking, inject hope back into the heart and minds of those that are struggling. Of course, I'm in recovery and I'm in the recovery field. What's going on, Brother Grayson?
Listen, I've been on a hiatus. As you all know, I just dropped my own fragrance line. When I say God has really been blessing it, He's really blowing this thing up. I took a hiatus away from everything to shift my focus to make sure that I was able to get everything together the way that it needed to be to get this business launched. It's off to a great start. And now I'm stepping back to pick up where we left off by bringing awareness to everybody, by giving you different tools and resources to help you become the best version of who you are. And we understand that you cannot be the best you by yourself. It takes a team. It takes commitment to be the best version of who you are. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into today's topic. Today we're talking about the three constants of life. That's change, choice, and principles. And bro, we got to live by each one of them. I'm just gonna give a few definitions of what change is. Change is when you replace something with something else, especially something that's of the same kind, that is either newer or better, or to substitute one thing to another. And then there's choice. We understand that choice is an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. Choice. Choice is an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. And that brings us to our third constant of life, which is principles, which is a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior or for a chain of reasoning. Principles. And we understand that change is always going to be inevitable, y'all. No matter what you do in life, you're going to always have to deal with change in some sense. Uh, when it occurs, you can be one of the three. You're going to either be able to change before it and become a driver of the change, or you can change with it and survive, or you can resist it and perish. It's all going to depend upon your choices. We on change. Step in, my brother. What you know about change?
You know, change, man. It's two ways to change. the right way and the wrong way. And going through the process of change, a lot of us become uncomfortable in the process because, first of all, we don't have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the process of change. See,
Hmm.
when I make a decision to do something different, I just try to do something different. I don't go through the right process. In my life and lifestyle today, I've learned the combination of change. I make a decision, I pray about it, I investigate it, gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of it, and then I apply it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. But the process of change gives me the opportunity to be different in the area that I want to change. Say if I'm gonna stop smoking cigarettes, some of us have the ability to just stop. Some of us have to try to take the shortcut route. We go buy patches, we go buy gum, we go to the doctor, but we haven't really made the decision to stop. But once I make the decision, then I go about looking at the situation in a different manner, which brings a different light. You feel what I'm saying, Grayson?
Yes, yes. So, in other words, can we say that, excuse me, can we say that choices, when we make them, the choices that we make yesterday is who we are today?
Or
Or,
the effect?
yeah, the effect. Let me say it a little better. I am what I am because of the choices I made yesterday.
But the consequence of the choices I made yesterday are played out today.
Right. Likewise, so who I echo. So likewise, who we will be tomorrow depends upon the choices that we make today. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, at one point, and family, I'm a realist. I get real. So at one point in my life, I had another name that started with a C, but not Clarence. And I'm an open book. When they used to call me by this word, crackhead, it didn't bother me because that's what I was in. That's the choice I had made. And in making that choice, I began to live the lifestyle as such. But when I made the decision that I no longer wanted to be that very entity, I had to go through the process to gain information, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of how not to be that character. So I had to go through a process. I made the decision. Now I just had to step into the decisions I made. But because I made the decision, didn't mean I didn't have consequences to deal with. But the consequences I had to deal with motivated me to change even more.
Hmm. Right.
So the motivation was to stick through. I had to leave my comfort zone of my home, go to a foreign land to get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding just so I can go home and lose everything anyway. But I was okay because it wasn't the stuff, it was me. And going to a foreign land, I had the opportunity to get out of the rat race and find me and learn how to fall back in love with me.
Hmm.
And in that process, I begin to find my purpose in this season.
So can we say that mute your mic while I'm talking, I'm getting back up. So can we say that human beings are one of the few species on this planet that's capable of making choices? We can choose between either doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. Um, Whatever it is, we have that ability to make that choice. Everything and everybody don't have that capability of making that choice. And we understand that each choice that we do make, it compromises either our present or our future. If we sacrifice what's easy in exchange for what's important in the present moment, we create a path for a better future. But if we sacrifice the important for the easy in the present, we actually compromise our future. Um, as we just talked about earlier about change, we understand that our choices that we make, actually dictate our actions, but our choices are dictated by our principles. And we understand that if principles, which is something like integrity, discipline, or commitment, govern our life, then you're going to automatically choose to do what's right by everyone and live your life by inner scorecard. Like we understand that our principles that we live by, which is our standards, we actually helps us to draw boundaries for our actions. They help us to avoid many different people and tasks that don't actually that's not a asset or an investment of our time and energy when we're trying to pursue purpose. You spoke on it earlier about just not getting the understanding to get to your purpose. Our principles, what's a good acronym? Our principles are like the North Star, that guide and light. Once we define them and stick to them, it's going to help us get to purpose. But we do understand that sometimes that is a process within itself. Um, get into that because there's always extenuating circumstances in life that we have to deal with that doesn't always allow us to cut through that clean path to get to purpose. It doesn't always cut through the clear path to get to purpose because life still be lifing on lifetimes. And we understand that when we're in that moment trying to do the right thing, a lot of people don't have principles that they live by, or they live by a different set of standards, which could be dictated by their environment or the way they grew up. Many different circumstances can actually change a person's principles or how they live and what they live by. I just want to ask you, what was something that actually helped you to change your principle or how you live your life?
Looking at this principle for myself, In that animalistic lifestyle, I didn't have no principles. Because I didn't have no principles, I didn't have a moral compass. See, my
Mm.
principle became a structure for my moral. My moral compass is the foundation that my principles are built on.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, once I started building the foundation of morals, I began to gather my principles. And my principles pushed me to change my character.
Mm-hmm.
And changing my character, it allowed me to go through the process of getting what we call repurified. And in repurification, see, if you look at a gold bar,
Mm-hmm.
and that gold bar, it's beautiful in its presentation. But before it went through that, before it made it to that presentation of the state that it is when you see it, it had to go through a process. It had to go through the purification stage. That means it had to get burnt up. It had to get melted. It had to get poured. It had to be rubbed and fashioned and shined up. See, that's what principle do when you begin to change. You find principle, and you find and finding and building your principle and building that belief system again. And then you realize you have morals or moral compass again. And that's
Mm.
all in the process of the conversation that we're speaking of. Once I have morals, I can find a peace of mind
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that I can stay in the structure of my principles, which saves me from embarrassing myself in a lot of other things outside of, sometimes people are, what is the word? We say mean when you have an issue such as an addictive problem,
Mm-hmm.
or if you have a medical condition. Sometimes people are cruel, but they don't understand the affliction of one because of the fact that in my addictive lifestyle, I had an affliction.
Mm.
So I didn't, principles and morals was just like speaking in Japanese to me. It didn't make sense because I didn't have a connection to others either unless you was doing the same thing that I was doing. And if my face was in the place of like-minded action, it was normal.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was normal. And in the process of beginning to want to change, I just didn't know how at the time because I wasn't willing to go through the process of change.
Mm.
Once I made the decision to change, then help came. How did help come? People begin to speak into my life differently. We had different conversations. Maybe you may be addicted. Maybe you may want to go get some help. Maybe we can find someone to help your condition, to help you with your affliction. But I had to make the choice to go through the process. Once I
Mm.
made that choice, this strange thing came about in my life. I start looking at things in a different light, in a different manner. And then I learned this thing about preparation and this beautiful word called principles, which in turn guided me to the foundation of my moral compass.
Your moral compass. Wow. Your moral
See,
compass.
now I won't do something outside of my moral compass, outside of my principle. If if one dropped their wallet in front of me, my principle would not let me take that wallet and put it in my pocket no longer. I have to give it back in its totality, or else my moral compass will bother me to the core because I said I am what I am. And
Mm,
that's someone that's accountable today,
right.
someone that believes in himself today. I cannot go against that and be who I say that I am
Mm,
because the process of change have fashioned me in such a way that I no longer am a weapon through rage and anger, but a weapon in truth and upstanding principles. So now here it is that I say that I'm accountable. What am I accountable for? To show up for the small things,
mm, right. Right.
being able to keep a small promise, being able to reach a goal.
Mm. So can we say that after all, life did itself is it was not only a result of what you don't do, but it's also a result of what you do with principles. Principles. Principles are the standard. They listen. They are the standard that we live by. Um, and what we're gonna do, like I said, we're not gonna give you too much too soon too fast. This is part one. When we come back on this next episode, we're gonna actually show you how to build your principles, your standards of life, and we're gonna build on top of that. And we're gonna show you how to be the best version of you. But you have to start at square one. We're gonna start on square one. We're gonna build this thing up. We're gonna build. This is the house that Jack built. We, we're gonna
Ooh,
we're
wee.
gonna build this thing on a solid foundation. So we're gonna stop right here because we need you to digest what we just told you. Choices, change, principles, the three constants of life. We're starting right here, and watch as we build this house. We're gonna show you the awareness to live a solid life, even when life be lifing. You have to be able to still, like Timex. You remember Timex, bro? You gotta be able to take a what? Take a licking and keep on what? Keep on ticking. Keep on ticking. But listen, y'all stay tuned for part two. We'll give you a heads up on when that's gonna be coming out. We thank you all for joining us today. Hey, we finna bake this cake real good. Do you hear me? Wait till we get to the icing. But we start at the bare minimum at the bottom, the foundation. Because if you don't have a solid foundation in who you are or your life, then things will begin to crumble once you start getting it up. Again, I am Grayson, your neighborhood sayers, that self-awareness implementation specialist. This is my co-host, Mr. Clarence King, very keen recovery coach. Um, as we show you all how to recover your life from despair, stay tuned. Tell somebody what's going on here. When you see this, like, share, and follow us as we follow through this path called life. Again, we thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, be a blessing to someone today. Good evening. Bye bye.